Hello, this is Reverend Don Lewis coming to you from beautiful Florida. And today our question comes to us from Magical Mermaid 41. And Magical Mermaid 41 asks if I would ever state that intent is more important than ingredients in one's magical practice. And my answer to this is that it's not so much if I would ever state that intent is more important than ingredients in magical practice, is that I would always state that intent is more important than ingredients in magical practice. I'm a strong believer in intent if by intent we mean focused will intended to direct energy. And in my mind, that's what magic is all about. Aleister Crowley famously defined magic as the science and art of causing change to occur in conformity with will, which is to say, intent, as we have just described it. And I am a great believer in that idea. I think that there certainly are things that you can do with, quote, ingredients, end quote, just in their natural state. And we've talked at length on the vlog about the native energy of things like stones and herbs and colors and numbers and planetary metals and all kinds of things. And these can be very helpful in our practice. But in the end, I think it does come down to our focused will and our clarity in what we are doing, which is also part of intent. As people, we sometimes have crossed wires between what we think we want, what we really want, and sometimes what we believe we can have. And I think that being clear in intent, that is, say, making sure all of those things are in alignment, is also very important. Now, there are a number of people, particularly lately, who are very upset about the idea that intent is all important. And a lot of them seem to hold the idea that this is a new thought, and many of them seem to think it comes out of the new age. And neither of these things are true. And let me say that there are many different opinions and different ways of approaching magic. And if your way of approaching it is different, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're thinking this is a new idea, then you are mistaken. It's quite an old idea. And I have a quote for you, one of my favorite quotes, and I have printed it out in large type so that I can actually read it, and I will read it to you. This quote is from an ABC of Witchcraft, Past and Present by Doreen Valente, published in 1973, which I think is before the birth of many of our viewers. And it addresses this issue on page 37, under the heading of Basic Beliefs of Witches. And I quote from the book, "Practitioners of magic have always emphasized that, although there are techniques to be acquired and the uses of magical accessories to be learned, in the last resort, it is the mind that holds the power of magic." Paracelsus and Cornelius Agrippa, two famous adepts, said this in the 16th century. And at the end of the 19th century, Miss Mary A. Owen, telling of her investigations in America in Among the Voodoos, International Folklore Congress, London, 1891, said, "To be strong in the head, that is, of great strength of will, is the most important characteristic of a conjurer or voodoo. Never mind what you mix, blood, bones, feathers, grave dust, herbs, saliva, or hair. It will be powerful or feeble in proportion to the dauntless spirit infused by you, the priest or priestess, at the time you represent the god or old master." And Doreen Valente goes on to say that this is the same as the witch belief, although it comes from the other side of the world. Now, some of my viewers may not know who Doreen Valente is. They may not know who Cornelius Agrippa or Paracelsus are either. Most of you probably won't know who Mary A. Owen is, and I don't know that many people do. But the others are all very prominent in the history of magical practice. Doreen Valente is so central to the modern witchcraft movement that she's often described as being the mother of modern witchcraft. Paracelsus and Cornelius Agrippa are major figures in ceremonial magic who lived in the 16th century, and their works are very seminal to many Western ideas about magic. And all these people agree that will, or intent, is the most important aspect of magic. And I am in total agreement with them. So would I say that intent is more important than ingredients? Absolutely, 100%. And in fact, I'm often telling people that they should not be bound by stuff, that they should work with the energy of themselves and the universe, and use things to help them, certainly, but never feel that they must have a particular physical item, because in the end you don't really need that. It can help, but you don't need it. And so, in answer to the question, once again, I absolutely do feel that intent is more important than ingredients. And for any given ingredient that you can think of, there are others that could be substituted for it, but nothing can be substituted for will or intent. So those would be my thoughts. I hope you find them helpful, and until next time, may you blessed be.
Intent. We do magic by consciously focusing energy. We shape that energy through thought and emotion. The energy takes its direction from the intent we set into that thought and emotion. Intent is your goal or purpose, what you wish to achieve, and it is very important to be clear in intent. When you concentrate upon your intent during a magical working, you are imprinting the energy with your intent, so that it will shape itself to bring your intent to pass.